Hello everybody, I hope you're having a fantastic day. I'm having a great day because I got some mail. Just to be honest with you, the next part of the video you'll see I filmed before this, but I needed that stuff and I just got in a package that I thought was mailbag worthy, so I'm going to open this up and pretend that this is the beginning. So we've got some stuff, and some more stuff, and some more stuff, and some more stuff. And so I'm just going to slide it off to the side here and we'll just grab these things first. So I've got these, I bought some of these back in 2021 and I've had pretty decent success with these things. These are USB 2, for the most part, or USB 3 extension cables. And what I primarily use them for is in things like my open source desk over there. And what I do is I put these on the front. They're kind of the, like the neatest way to actually have USB ports on the front, because these are circles which are easy to cut. So if I want to put them in something that I already have some panels for, I can put them in there. The reason why I was doing that is because the other ones I had were extremely tight, and I did break one of the USB plugs. But these seem like they're a little bit better. They seem like they're more reasonable to plug into. But anyway, you can drill basically the same size hole as an arcade button, which I think is like 1 1/16, something like that, maybe 1 1/8, somewhere in that range, and drill a hole in there and get a nice, decent USB, thing in your wall. So I'm not doing a very good job explaining it. I'll send some pictures and put them up here and just show you what I'm doing with these things. But basically what I do is I have this thing on my desk, and then inside the desk is all the connections, so everything is nice and neat. And I actually got 2 of those. I do have one other one that's kind of cool that is a USB 3 and an HDMI port, which I really like that. So my HDMI in is on the front of my desk. So it does also come with this thing here, so if you wanted to, you could like mount it on your dashboard, or if you have a motorcycle or something like that, you could mount it like that so that you get kind of a decent little holder for it. But I don't need that. And it comes with the nuts, which I'm guessing for different types. The other thing it does have is this cover, which obviously I'm not going to put on indoors, but if you were using it in a dusty location, you want to be able to cover it, you can do that. So I've had the other ones for a couple years and liked them enough to decide to order some more. All right, next up we got some more electronics. These are from one of the companies I do like. If I'm on Amazon and something is by HiLetgo, I tend to, they're not the best, not the worst, but they just generally give me solid quality. And so these things here they look like breakouts, but they're not breakouts. These are actual RS232 drivers. So there's a driver on there. I don't know if we can get the part number right from there. It's a Max 232, which I do have some of these chips in a normal dip configuration. And so the idea with these is that you can attach this to something like an Arduino, or attach this to some other kind of device, and get your 9-pin and your serial interface all from here. And you can see that you've got your VCC and your RX and TX and all that kind of stuff in ground. So I do have a project of these that I don't really want to talk about right now, but kind of nice to have something like this, just a professionally made breakout for the RS232. And next up we have this, and I've been wanting one of these for a while. This is an Anex. It is a right angle screwdriver bit. And the reason why I wanted this is because I am constantly going and taking my 1/4-inch socket and putting a 1/4-inch socket on that, and then sticking these bits in there. And so what this gives me is something that's way more low profile, like probably 3/4 of an inch to an inch lower profile. And what I've been finding is that I've been working on computers that were built in the 70s and 80s, and they were terrible about putting screws in places where you'd have to pull the monitor out of something just to get a drive out. So this will take standard bits, and a lot of the differences of the ones online were how many bits they came with, and I definitely don't need the cheap bits that came with these things. I will say that I did a lot of research on these things, believe it or not, and one of the reasons why I wanted this one is that this switch is here, and it's apparently the ones that use like a little rocker switch right here tend to reverse themselves all the time, and they're kind of a pain in the butt, they say. So you do lose, I mean, maybe a mil of clearance by doing it that way, but you get really positive action on your ratcheting thing. So I wanted one like this that was super low profile that I could use for getting in tight areas. This one had by far the best reviews, especially for it didn't have a lot of people saying that, you know, they were reversing it, as far as I remember. So this was about $10. So I mean, not super cheap. I might have been able to get one cheaper from AliExpress, but this did come from Amazon. So, and speaking of Amazon, I have the links for all this stuff in the description, and you guys buying stuff, all this stuff came from some money I've been saving up from you guys doing the purchases on the affiliate. And so huge blessing to be able to get some fun stuff like this, and everything in here are things that I've been kind of putting off, wanted for myself and hadn't gotten, but thanks to having some Amazon credit from you guys, I'm able to buy this stuff, and then I'm going to film it and put it on video, and maybe you'll decide you want it too. So this is the Anex model 425, made in Japan, not even made in China, made in Japan, ratcheting screwdriver. And next up we have this, and I have some very, very, very old Kester, and a lot of my solder is nearly as old as I am, which this stuff does technically expire, they say. And I decided that I wanted some Kester 30, what did I get? 6337, I think. So I wanted some in a relatively fine, you can see there, I think it's 0.025. Is that what it is? What did I get here? So 3.3%, yeah, 0.025, 0.6 millimeter solder here. I don't need to actually get it out, but I've been wanting some quality Kester rosin core solder for a while, and so this is a pound of it, and it's like $37. So it is not cheap, but you know, manufactured on 328 and supposed to be pretty good. So maybe I'll do some kind of solder off. Of course, the fact is, if I have a HiLetgo soldering gun and I have quality flux and quality solder, then there's really no excuse for my poor soldering. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I might have to go back to using old Radio Shack solder from the 80s. So I have something to blame my poor soldering on. And last but not least on this package, something that I have been very much looking forward to. This is the SER Series Mini PC Generation 5 Pro. And this thing has a 5th generation. What does it say here? It has the Ryzen 7 5800 processor in it. Now, they do make one that has a Ryzen 6800 processor, but it's a Ryzen 5, so it costs $100 more than this one, and it actually has a significantly less amount of performance. So this thing is has got the Ryzen 7 5800H, 16 gigs of RAM, 500 gigabyte M.2, Wi-Fi 6, and you know, runs off a standard 19 volt laptop power adapter. And so we're going to open this thing up. It's by a company called Beelink, which if you've been on Amazon and seen these kind of little PCs, this is one of the more popular names. Now I will say, so this thing is, from a performance perspective, this thing is $329 and runs circles around most of the NUCs and most of the other ones, definitely in this price range. Like I said, you can pay $100, $200, $300 more than this and not get this kind of performance. So we're going to take a look at it. First time hands-on the Beelink. So let's see, we'll go for accessories first, just to draw it out just a little bit. So what we've got here looks like some kind of mount, maybe a Visa mount. Comes with an HDMI cable. Comes with a second HDMI cable. I sort of wonder if one of these is DisplayPort. That looks like standard HDMI. It does have a DisplayPort on it, but no, those are two HDMIs. You've got a small 3 amp 19 volt power brick. I would like it to be USB-C, but I'm not going to complain at this price point. And got some screws here for our Visa mount. And we have the main device. And I would say I bought a NUC for work. And I mean, the NUC form factor used to mean something, but now there are all different kinds of shapes and sizes. But, you know, I bought like maybe a 12th generation i5 NUC. And this is pretty close to that size. It might be a little bit smaller than this. But this thing has, let's see, we got 2 USB 3 ports on the front, USB-C, headphone jack, power button, clear CMOS button on the front, which is kind of nice. You've got your Ryzen 7 stickers and your Radeon graphics. And we've got a USB 3, and I don't know if that's USB 2 or not. We'll see. We've got Ethernet, which I think is just 10100. You've got HDMI and display port, as well as your power in. Nothing on the other sides. So this thing, does that pull? Maybe I'll wait to do anything with that. So again, very standard kind of form factor, but I have a giant power hungry Xeon over there. And you know, if you just look at something as simple as CPU mark, this thing will be twice the performance, just CPU wise, not counting the good graphics, but twice the performance of the Xeon machine and use about 1/10 of the power. And so this thing is going to be running Batocera Linux most likely, depending on how I wind up going with this. There's a chance I might switch PCs, but either way, I've got 2 power hungry PCs in here, and one of them is going to be running Batocera, and I'd like it to be this one because that would take up less room in my office and be relatively quiet. So maybe I'll show that in a separate you know, in a separate build. But essentially, this is going to be my main emulation PC and will drive my entire media center mission control desk over there. So again, I might need to do an update on that, but that's what I got so far.